seconds. Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Hi, Athena. Athena, come on.
And Athena, if you show your butt to the camera, I'm going to be telling Zeus that you're showing yourself around. Just so you know. Oops, are we on the air? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Athena is only named after the Greek goddess.
Well, you need to let Athena get up higher because, as we all know, having cats on camera increases viewership by 23%. And I know that's accurate because I made it up myself.
And 95% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Yeah, but I made this one up a few weeks ago when, it's still maintaining.
Well, look who we got in the audience. Godless Scummer.
Yep, we got Godless Scummer, My Unfinished Journey, and Greg Hartwick.
Hello.
So yes, it actually was listed in the holidays that today is Disobedience Day.
No, it's not.
No, that would be contradiction.
That would be contradiction day, yes. But especially with the state of our government right now, civil disobedience is very important.
Oh, and
I refuse to call it our government. It is the government.
Yeah.
It is not ours any longer.
Yep.
Good point.
That is a good point. And we have to do everything we can to resist and protest.
Speaking of which, tomorrow is the second round of No King's Day protests.
Oh,
okay.
It's good to know. Tomorrow, huh?
In any city of significant size, and there's probably one here. I don't know if any of the local things that have been involved in the politics are having sign-making parties.
I would imagine it makes a lot more sense that for tomorrow than July 4th.
True.
There's something going on that day. I forget what.
Tomorrow is July 4th.
Tomorrow is July 4th?
Yeah.
Oh, well. What's going on? Is there something going on tomorrow?
Apparently it's look for where the cat dropped my pen day.
Isn't it the third tomorrow? Or am I living a day behind?
Yeah, tomorrow's
today's
the third.
Tomorrow's the 3rd. Why did I think it was? Oh well.
So is the protest planned for the 4th then?
They're planned for the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, the way things have been going for me this week, living a day behind was quite possible.
Are you feeling you lost today?
Yeah, I wasn't going all that great this week.
Oh.
I blamed Athena for dropping the pen, but it was in my ear.
Yep. And we have alias fake name and Ember.
Listen, tell you what, you get rid of J.K. Rowling and all the turfs, and we'll rejoin you at this point.
But they've got as many turfs as we do, so.
J.K., is that what? J.K. who? What? Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Voldemort.
Oh, her. Okay, yeah.
Well, maybe they'll just send them over to us.
No. The deal was they had to get rid of all their turfs.
Yeah, Ember, if you can join us, I sent the link on Discord.
Oh yeah, and maybe just give Scotland independence in the bargain.
Well, let's keep 3 slots open until we know if my invitees are going to show up today.
Yeah.
I certainly hope they do.
That's okay.
As a lead in chat, I asked 3 different people from my rounds at TikTok to come visit. One woman is Dr. Gelbell. She goes by that name. She's a doctor in anthropology and teaches at a university in Australia. Alex Ruby, she's a content creator and just a very irreverent, very smart woman who I enjoy thoroughly. And Trunkle Pax, who is a trans man and content creator who's also got quite a sense of humor from time to time. I hope they are able to show up and enjoy our insanity.
I am preparing all my computer regalia.
Pardon my yawn, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but no one really knows her as Robert Galbraith.
That's her transitional name. What she calls herself when she dresses up and goes down the town.
And those novels really, I mean, they did not sell well compared to Harry Potter. But almost as if no one's interested in mediocre takes on Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, but why would they be interested in mediocre fantasy stuff too?
Yep. Well, Ember says she's preparing for traveling to Kentucky, and yep, I'm gonna be there too.
Wait a
and
minute, J.K. Rowling is coming to Kentucky?
No. Ember is going to Kentucky.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Duh.
Yep, and so I'll be driving there and picking up Porpoise on the way. So we will be getting there Saturday afternoon.
I mean, I'd be willing to take my van. It's just the brakes are weird.
No,
because of the electric system.
Yeah.
And that's
mine's fine. It just sometimes when it goes to shift, it takes it a moment.
And I will have this sacred text comprised of things I made up. You'll just have to trust me what's in here is fully because I'm not going to tell you.
So you are going as a prophet.
Perp, does your air conditioning work?
It will.
It will?
It needs to be recharged, but I've got the stuff here to recharge it. I've got the valve set.
Oh.
I was going to say, at least my air conditioning works.
Yeah. No, I just need to give mine a recharge and it'll be fine.
I've seen those kits that you can buy at auto parts store. I've never used one. I wonder how well they work.
I've seen those too, and well, my brother's a professional mechanic.
All right, but if you're gonna sleep, that means I can't do bad car karaoke.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't think much of those kits, but I think for the average person, they're actually pretty good.
Are you an R134 or still R22?
Yeah, 134A.
Okay.
But the local auto parts store, lent me the set of professional valves for it, and the professional gauges, so I can make sure I get it to the right pressure and everything.
That means I can go grocery. Okay, so
yeah, too much is bad. Some systems nowadays are built with an overpressure valve or switch, I should say, to shut you down if you got too much pressure.
Yeah, I know if you put too much in it, it can damage the unit.
Oh boy, what a special day on TV today. We have the rifleman going here.
Now, I trust my car to get there and back, but if we want to switch off drivers, that car is not the devil they know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the one problem with mine is that sometimes if you try to punch it, it might bog down for a second and not accelerate quite as well as you expect.
I mean, there's a reason why I bought a Dodge. Which finally is properly plated, properly registered.
Okay, yeah, and for all the things that they've got wrong in this world, there are some things you have to give them credit for. Dodge is the right thing to put on the front of a truck coming toward you. They put Ram on the side so they know that they're out to get you.
I don't want to laugh at that. Inappropriately funny.
Just give it a sloth and let's move on. Oh, Majestic Beck.
I was going to say it's no worse than some of the jokes I've heard or told on Friday nights here.
Well, now see, jokes on Friday night are generally funnier because you're usually half drunk by then.
You're supposed to only be half drunk on Friday?
Well, you're half drunk on Friday night. You're fully drunk by the time it, goes past midnight and becomes Saturday.
Could you define half drunk for me? It's kind of like half pregnant, isn't it?
No, half drunk is when you're still able to walk to the bathroom. Fully drunk is when you have to crawl.
No, fully drunk would be when you just lay there and pee in your pants.
What? Oh. Yeah, Go ahead, Jenny.
No, I was just clearing my throat.
Oh. I forgot what I was going to say, so.
Well, I said half drunk is crawling or is pissing in your pants. Or a full drunk, I mean, something like that.
Yeah, it's gone.
I was going to say, I don't think most people are drunk by the time that they go home. Now, by the time they get into karaoke, they start getting drunk.
Are you planning on going drunk to the Ark?
I don't drink that much.
Well, it's a special occasion.
Well,
I mean, yes, there's some Jägermeister in the refrigerator and some blackberry mead, but that's it.
Liquid dirt.
you drink Jaeger?
I like black licorice, so what?
Okay,
What's wrong with Jägermeister?
Nothing.
Well, you realize that Jägermeister was originally sold as being a cough suppressant. And just because they provided it to the soldiers during World War II, and half of them got addicted to it.
Yeah, and we all know what Coca-Cola was first sold as, so
Now that you mention that, I've never heard that before, but I remember when we were kids, my mom gave us one of two different cough syrups. One was Benylin, and that had a lovely cherry taste. I loved it as a kid. And for if we were really bad, she gave us this brown stuff that was just nasty as all hell, and it tasted like I remember Jägermeister tasted. I'd never put that together before. Mom was getting us drunk.
Okay, whatever that background noise is done now.
Yeah,
that might be coming from me. Actually, I've got a washing machine going behind me.
Yeah.
I wish I could have a washing machine here.
Scummer, I heard a young woman from UK on TikTok yesterday who was talking about how in the UK virtually nobody has air conditioners. Is that true?
Pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Houses there generally don't have them.
No, it's not something that comes as a sort of standard. No, not at all. I mean, I don't have one.
It's required here.
Not even window air conditioners.
Oh, I've got windows. So we're not that primitive, but
no. Air conditioners that fit in the window.
No.
Central air is required here. It's part of the building code.
I didn't realize they'd actually put that into the code.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's also a difference between which place is more likely to get heat waves and which place is more likely to get
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've had it's been a little cooler today. We had a couple of yesterday and Monday were quite hot. Well, hot by our standards anyway, So
I mean,
are you guys starting to feel the effect of climate change there, temperature wise?
Oh, probably, yeah, definitely. I mean, if anything, I notice it more in the winter. To be honest, I think we've had a couple of quite mild winters.
Oh,
Unfortunately, here in the north, we still can get some pretty nasty kick-ass winters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Majestic. You need to convert those to freedom degrees.
Let's see, 31 degrees would be somewhere around 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do
Hey.
communist degrees here.
the internet is based in America. You got to use American units.
Well, the problem is someone's going to take me seriously about communist and freedom degrees.
Yeah, I've never quite understood how this sort of system's got. Seen as like the two guys, Fahrenheit and Celsius, were contemporaries of one another. It's kind of weird how because we used to use the Fahrenheit scale and we sort of switched to like using Celsius, you know. So
Well, here's a good way to remember. Kelvin is how hot atoms feel. Celsius is how hot water feels. Fahrenheit is how hot you feel.
That's really an excellent description. That
Yeah.
really is.
that's quite good.
For years, I'm a big believer in metric, but as far as temperature goes, Fahrenheit is, for us, is far more of a human grade that works far better and more accurately than centigrade ever will. I mean,
think
yeah,
I
I know you
agree
can
with
do.
that.
I can use tenths of degrees and stuff like that, but that just seems silly when there's a perfectly good scale that nails it perfectly for people.
Tenths of degrees seems inconsequential unless you're really needing it for really specific things.
I mean, I was only making a joke about how Americans like.
Well, you nailed it.
How Americans assume.
He's
everything
actually,
will
I mean,
roll
I know you're having a joke, but it wasn't a bad description in all honesty.
It was a good description.
Flat earthers don't understand that one. You
Well,
with Kelvin, you
Jenny,
talk to them.
Jenny,
Okay, I
can
think I was
you
there.
can just cut you off it. I'll just cut you off at flat earthers don't understand. End of.
Okay.
I was going to say anything after flat earthers don't understand was entirely unnecessary.
Well, actually, that description is entirely accurate. Do you know how the Fahrenheit scale got set?
No. Is it no? Just go ahead.
I don't know, but after spending some time on Twitter and conspiracy theorists, I'm guessing it's either the Masons or aliens.
No, seriously. The way he set his scale when he made his thermometer is it was snowing that day, and he set the thermometer outside on the window ledge, and it got covered in snow. And where it stopped, he marked that as 0. And then he stuck the thermometer in his mouth, and where it stopped, he marked that as 100. So that's how we got the scale. Is that it was a snowy day, and he was running a slight fever.
Well, what about if he put it up his ass? Which is a way they take temperature, folks. I'm not just being kinky.
I don't want to know.
Which is which is just more proof that the Fahrenheit system is shit.
Ooh, I used to hate getting that temperature that way. Ugh. I think it's neat nowadays how they have, infrared thermometers that they've calibrated so that they can just bounce it off your forehead and know what your temperature is.
Yeah, you don't even have to make contact with the skin.
The guy fixing my AC, he used one of those to test that the temperature was coming out the vent.
Is this how I like when I first encountered the pulse oximeter? I thought it was neat.
That's how we would determine AC efficiency in the car too. Is just your basic thermometer reading out of the vent.
Yep.
Here, one's position. Okay.
Actually, I really need to get one of those.
You can go to Harbor Freight and get them for under $20.
Yeah, I know I can get them pretty easy.
The first one I bought, because I was a new adopter type then, cost me $165.
Go to Hazard Fraught.
Instead, I got myself a new crock pot. I downsized so I could make single meals with it.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think Harbor Freight can survive if Trump's tariffs go through.
Actually, I was noticing last week I get their weekly mailers, and since they're almost always the same, it's something that you get used to, and their prices have gone up significantly. I mean,
Yep.
some things have doubled in price in the last few weeks.
Speaking
I know-
of which,
I know this coffee has gone up quite a bit.
have you noticed that the one thing they actually did that was to the bill was actually get the big, beautiful bill name taken off?
Oh God, thank you.
It's like,
What did they name it? The "Fuck the Americans, we don't care about your ass" bill.
I mean, it was a stupid name.
Big
Yes,
ugly
it
bill.
was. Trump is such a jagoff. The guy uses the same little superlatives like that all the time for everything. He is just such a child, such a non-thinking piece of flesh.
But
Yeah.
what the bloody hell does it say about that? Where still so many people think, yeah, that's brilliant. You know, it's like, what the fuck have we come to? And it's only just because I see us going the same way. I'm seeing the same sort of populist idiots, you know, and it worries me that we're going to head in the same bloody direction.
Oh, Jeff, and you have just
Well-
as big of a problem with idiots as we do here. The number of people I've run into on TikTok and other places let me finish. Who actually think that the Supreme Court decision and the CAS review are actually accurate, intelligent things. And it's like, what the fuck?
Let's just put it this way: the days when we as Brits used to be able to look down on Americans are long fucking gone. You know.
Well, now if we can just get you to talk right. Sorry, I had to, Jeff.
Yeah.
Stop using unnecessary extra letters in some of your words.
I am so disappointed that they managed to get that bill through the Senate. I was really thinking that we had a chance that the Senate was going to bounce it back to the House for a rewrite.
They did. It was not only rewritten, it was made worse by the Senate. They increased the potential deficit like 2 or 3-fold. They increased the number of people bouncing off Medicare from 16 to 20 million. It's much worse now.
Well, did you hear that Trump actually demonstrated a slight self-awareness?
He resigned?
No, he was telling ICE to back off raiding workplaces for people because he realized that it could actually affect his own properties.
Except the reality is that he said that one day, and the next day he came back and said, "No, that's not what we're going to do."
Did he say that, or did he just tweet it?
Whichever. He believes himself no matter what illusion he has.
Truthed it.
Yeah, no one uses Truth Social who isn't a Trump cultist.
Yep.
Well, reporters do.
I don't think they actually use it. I think they just look at his account.
Well, okay. All right. So they only follow one person.
I also love that JD Vance came on Blue Sky and was like, everyone was like, "Go away, you moron."
I didn't hear about that.
I was I was trying to wonder who got custody of JD in the whole breakup between Trump and Elon.
No one wants. I was going to say JD Vance is just an uninspired politician who's ended his career.
Unfortunately, while he's ended his career, there's a very good chance he's going to become president.
I don't really want JD Vance, but I'd rather have a president who's not suffering from dementia.
Yeah, I am hoping that what got me through the first Trump administration is true. That when they gave Trump the launch code, somebody intentionally made a typo so they can't work.
Well, I mean, we've been a lot closer to the nuclear war than some people realize.
Yeah. I think it's a bit, from what I understand, I think it's a bit of a myth that the president can just arbitrarily order a nuclear strike, because I'm pretty sure there was this issue kind of came up in the 70s with Nixon making a drunk phone call or something and ordering them to bomb Russia. That's a story I heard. I don't know if that's true, but
there is a story that actually I do know is true, that it took place during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where it came down to two Soviet nuclear submarine captains or officers. One turned the key and the other said no.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. It's like...
Okay, that is a very reassuring fact.
That story is absolutely correct, Sinister. Except it came down to the captain and the first mate. The first mate was one of three people on board that had to all approve and twist their little keys like they do on American stubs and stuff.
First off, the one first mistake was like captains. There's only one captain on the ship.
Yeah. But that kind of thing gives me a little bit of faith in humanity, that there is someone who refused to turn the key.
It does. We're very glad that they didn't. It was very, very, very scary those days, as the news developed in that whole incident. It was just, as a kid, it was scared to death.
Yeah. Can imagine. I mean, because the fact is, like, if we ever have nuclear war, let's just put it this way: humanity is fucked. There is no coming back from it. You know.
Well, somebody also clued Trump in that the stuff he already did, bombing Iran, was threatening to raise the global gas prices. So, well, somebody in the administration had to go and beg China to talk Iran out of closing off I forget what the name of the strait there is.
Hormuz.
Yeah, the Strait of Hormuz, because that's where most of the oil tankers go through. So if they blocked that off, it was going to run up the gas prices everywhere.
That it would.
So, yeah, somebody had to go and beg China for help after Trump was being an idiot.
After. There's no after with Trump. It's always while.
Well, yeah, it's continuous.
It's just there's just varying degrees of idiocy, I suppose.
We all know that there's his cousin Mary Trump, his niece Mary Trump, who has been so public and wrote a book and does podcasts and shit about how horrible of a human he is. His sister, which many people have never even heard of exists, has come out and said that he's just an unstable son of a bitch, and we wish we would have said something like this a decade ago, but she's a federal. She was retired, but she was a federal judge.
Yeah.
So this is not just some average sister. This is
yeah. Why couldn't you have come out and told everybody this in 2016?
Well, because she was a judge, and judges aren't that's unethical for them.
Yeah. Plus there was I sort of somehow still had some hope that some degree of common sense would prevail in 2016. I mean, listen, I do not have any time for Hillary Clinton, but it was kind of very clear that if that was your choice, it was like, okay, she is at least competent to do that job, whatever else you might think of her.
But there was there was a different problem in 2016, and the Democrats blew it by not electing Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Clinton wasn't really a choice. She was kind of
And
forced on us.
people were coming out for Bernie as well.
Yep.
And they're making
If
this.
they had put Bernie on the ballot, a lot of people who just sat out the election would have voted for him.
And they're making the same mistake with Mandani. Is that guy's name?
Are they-
Yeah.
Are they trying that same bullshit with him too?
Well, they tried. They failed.
This is the thing though.
Yeah.
They do this when the Democratic Party. Anytime that there's a candidate from a bit further to the left than they'd like, they cut them off and they cut them off at the last. I mean, didn't they do this to Jesse Jackson back in the day?
Well,
No.
Jesse
Jackson never would have won.
Choice. Yeah.
Jesse never had support in the primaries, not like Bernie ever.
I mean,
not like
okay,
Bernie
not to the way Bernie did. I mean, but I mean, also like was it? Bernie drew out like 10,000 people to a rally in bloody Alabama of all places, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he's still doing.
He still does it.
Right. The problem is the way the Democratic Party was set up to nominate people. It's like they have super delegates that can override the will of the voters, and that's what happened. Because a lot of Hillary did not win as many states as you would think.
Yeah,
But
There's a lot of bullshit trickery going on there too.
You don't make super delegate unless you've been a party member for a long time.
super delegates voted for Hillary, even though like the regular vote said no, we're not voting for Hillary.
They also had her listed as having those votes even before the votes were cast.
I mean, the Republican Party is actually more democratic in that sense.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
well,
I'm just an idiot. I'm hoping that they're finally understanding their error.
no, they're not.
No.
Because the Democrats are trying to figure out, how they can duplicate Mandami's success without adopting his policies. They still don't get it that people voted for him because they liked the policies he was talking about.
I must admit I did not follow that race well enough to comment on him either way. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I really didn't know much about it until the results came out.
There are lots of people in very important places who aren't taking any action because they say it's just too late, but who are absolutely convinced and provide numbers and mathematical probabilities that the likelihood of this guy actually winning the election the way the numbers show he did is just completely bogus. They're depending on probabilities of 80,000 to 1 and would have to occur for him to have won the seven toss-up states.
Unless the probability, was the probability actually 0 or was it close to 0? Because those are two very different things.
I don't know. I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm reporting what others have said.
Because the probability of rolling an 8 on the 6-sided die is actually 0. You're not going to do it, ever. It's statistically impossible. Or rather, it's actually impossible.
Wait. I have something to say about the dice statistics. Because I did one time roll a 7 on a 6-sided die. When the die hit the table, it cracked in half and came up as a 2 and a 5 simultaneously.
And it's no longer one 6-sided die.
It was still one die. It was just in 2 pieces.
Hey,
yeah.
Sinister, if you get cut in half, you're still.
I'm not sure if that counts as rolling a 7.
I don't know if it still counts as 6 sides with it, even if it's. Yeah.
Hey, I needed a 6 to win the roll, and I argued that one.
Yeah, you're not going to roll a 7 on a 6-sided die. It's just not possible. However, rolling like all 6s on like 16 6-sided dice is not going to happen very often, likely, but it's still possible.
Yeah, well, that's what they refer to as a non-zero chance, that you'll probably never see it in your life, but it could happen.
So, yeah, I just don't buy into the blue anon conspiracy theories. I would like to be wrong, though.
You mean that people do get magnetized after the COVID shot?
No, I mean blue anon, which is the election conspiracy theories. I understand people want to believe that Americans are smart enough not to vote for Trump, but what evidence in the past 8 years has given me that belief? I mean, these are people who think Tim Pool is a genius.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Enough said.
the MAGA cultists, and we have a number.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
MB.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
Maybe if
I
we
shouldn't
stoke
call
the
you
ember
MB.
and blow on
That
him
sounds
gently.
wrong. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, when we first met, I was MB the NB. I don't know. I just work here.
I'm sorry for sounding so cynical, but it's just.
I think
Gen X.
I think in a way, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like, you know, like it's Britain and America have so much in common in this respect, is that we are both countries with a lot of fucking stupid people living in them.
Yep.
Well, I think
but
I'm kind of thinking that the percentage of those people is higher in the UK than the US, you know, because you just had more time to perfect stupid. You guys have been around.
oh yeah, we just developed like very formal sounding accents, so it sounds like we're actually intelligent, even if when we're saying really stupid fucking things.
Well, okay, they say correlation does not equal causation,
right.
But you know, the level of people voting stupid has significantly increased the more that media companies have been consolidated.
Absolutely, and we
I
blame
mean,
Ronald Reagan for yet another thing that's wrong today that he created.
I think what amazes me what's happened in Britain just within the last 3 years is that somehow we ended up for 6 weeks with this absolute disaster of a prime minister. She called Liz Truss, who lasted 6 weeks, and somehow she's managed to gaslight enough people into thinking that she was somehow like that she was the victim of some sort of conspiracy. And like a few months ago, like when the US election was, she was out in America, you know. I mean, what's it like? Heritage, whoever they
Peter Thiel.
Yeah, they had her out, and Turning Point have had her out. That, you know, it's just like, and I'm like, I said, it's like how gaslit is it? It's like, no, the facts are the woman failed because she was bloody incompetent as a prime minister and should never have been in that position.
I suspect she would have done much better had she changed her last name.
So
going around in life named after a medical device that wraps around a man's crotch is.
And I'll say this: she lasted 6 weeks in the job. Now, during 2 of those weeks, the country came to a standstill and nothing got done because Queen Elizabeth died. So nothing happened for like 2 weeks in this country. Nothing got done because of that. So it's like tell me that she would have only lasted 4 weeks. This trust had the Queen not died, and I have this kind of theory that the late Queen, like her last prime minister, who was Liz Truss, and I think she met Liz Truss and sort of met her, and I think like said, "I'm out of here."
Well, I don't know. Maybe we can have JD Vance meet with your next monarch.
You should have just let the corgis inherit everything and let them run the country.
Well,
yeah.
the Queen doesn't really run the country.
All
right. Since you brought up Liz Truss, I have to ask this question: did the cabbage outlast her?
The lettuce, yes, it did.
Yep.
The cabbage.
Well,
It was a lettuce. The good thing is that's brought up to Liz Truss.
Oh, no.
She kind of loses it in public over that.
Yep.
What happened was that when she became prime minister, one of the newspapers called the Daily Star, which is not a left-wing newspaper by any means, but they kind of sort of did this little gag where they said, they bought a lettuce from the store and sort of said, what will last longer, Liz Truss's premiership, or will this lettuce completely just decompose? And the lettuce outlasted her.
All right, sorry, Jenny was trying to say something.
I don't remember. It's okay.
Well, I think you should have stayed with the head of lettuce. You know, if you wrap them in paper towels, they last a lot longer than you'd think.
Yeah.
Although,
Hey.
if I was going to pull that gag, I would use a Twinkie because I know that it would outlast anybody.
Have you?
Oh
seen
no, I
this?
shouldn't say that. Did I?
If you put a Twinkie up against Keith Richards, then we might have a competition.
Twinkie against Keith Richards.
No, Keith
Or Howard
Richard.
Nelson.
Keith Richard wins.
Yeah,
I have to share my good news that I shared you guys in DMs a week or so ago. I made some comment on a tweet on Twitter. Where else would they be? Relating to Twinkies, and completely unaware to me, the Hostess Corporation was watching, and what I said in my comment was that I used to love Twinkies even as a young adult. I said, but now at my age of fixed incomes, I just honestly can't afford them. And Hostess reached out, and I thought it was a scam at first, but it wasn't. And they're going to send me a goodly sum of coupons for free Twinkies, and
Cool.
this is the killer, a web connection so that I can get as many as I want in the future.
oh, really?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a secret link. I'm not allowed to share it.
So
Sponsorship?
Yeah, I
It's
can
just
sponsor. I can collect enough of them so that I can put them together as a race car. That's what I.
I'm not actually quite sure in this stream who is the winner of Twitter in the last couple of weeks. It's either Jenny with that story or Porpoise with someone who liked one of your posts.
Stephen
Yeah,
King.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yes, Scubber, I have
I'm
to
jealous
correct
of
you.
I'm jealous of Sinister, so I think she wins.
But it was just, it's like Stephen King. So it's like, I know Donald Trump is a huge fan. I bet he's read all of my book. It's like, I know he has all my books, and I just quoted that. It's like, yeah, but I'll bet he hasn't read any of them.
I've made it a personal sport to try to attack certain nasty right wingers enough so that they block me, because it's just fun to do. But I am so bad at it. I can't get any of these bastards to block me. J.K. Rowling won't.
I've been blocked by her.
Well,
I've said so many bad things to her. Maybe she likes me because I'm trans. That's what it is.
I mean, most of the time, these accounts actually aren't managed by the celebrity themselves.
Yeah.
I see. I did get an achievement unlocked on Twitter but unfortunately, though, it was also a defeat at the same time because myself and One Ring were having a little competition to see who could get blocked first by Pastor Greg Locke.
I don't think that really.
Oh yeah, he's that name too.
Yeah, and he blocked me. I was like, yes, finally. Only to find out that Ring had been blocked like 1 hour before me.
Oh,
Greg keeps coming up a lot today. I wonder why. Was there another? Did he burn more Bibles in front of his own church?
but just being blocked is still. That's what we should do. Is set up a little foundation so that we can take collections and afford to create medals to send to people who get blocked by certain losers like Greg Locke.
Yep. Well,
Does anyone even take Greg Locke seriously? I mean,
Well,
Not
all of his minions in his so-called church.
He lost a debate to a flat earther. No one takes him seriously.
I mean, to be
People who
fair,
go to
there
his
is.
church are just there for the entertainment.
To be fair, there isn't much coming back from that, is there? Losing to a flurf.
Amber, do you know the details of it?
Yeah, it was against a former friend of his named Pastor Dean Odell, and they did this debate at Locke's tent church in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I can't remember when exactly. I did a debate review with Mark Reed shortly after, but we watched the whole thing. It was fucking hilarious. Greg goes on listing up, I believe in the moon landing is fake and the government is hiding this and that, and every conspiracy. He's calling up every conspiracy except flat Earth. He says it's obvious, it's clear that the planet is a globe. And Dean goes, it doesn't matter what the evidence says. The Bible is very clear that it's flat. And that was the crux of the debate. And they went back and forth and back and forth. And finally, at the end of it, Dean Odell finally gotchas him and says, do you deny that the Bible says the Earth is flat? And Greg says, no, the Bible says that. And then he just, there we go. If you believe the Bible, then the Earth is flat.
Except the Bible does not say it's flat.
We need a Dean Odell versus Kent Hovind debate on this. That's what we need. Too.
But then Greg cut his mic and kicked him out. And half the congregation went with Dean.
Well, at least it would be the first debate I'd ever see Kent Hovind win.
Oof. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if Kent has the chutzpah to take on a guy like the
Kent's got his own script. Okay, this is why he only does the quote unquote evolution debate. And I kind of feel like if you've listened to you've seen one Kent Hovind debate, you've seen them all, because he has the same script for every single one of them. I mean, there's been certain people, I'd say, some people have walloped him better than others. Aaron Ra, I think, completely annihilated him. Katz did a good number on him. The late Bill Ludlow demolished him. There's been some people who may have, I wouldn't say Kent's beaten, but they've not necessarily... given the best accounting of themselves against Kent, should we say?
First off, debates on YouTube aren't really like formal or anything. They're just nerd fights.
Yeah,
sort of, but yeah.
Well, sometimes they're nerd fights. Sometimes they're morons fighting with each other. But
garbage fires is the preferred nomenclature.
Yeah.
Hey, I love a good dumpster fire. That was the Kent Hovind Aaron Ra debate.
That was fantastic. I mean, that was fantastic. I mean, especially just because Aaron was not letting him dodge. That was what was so good about that.
Well, it was also the complete lack of respect he had for him.
Yeah.
So coincidentally, rumor is that Kent is coming to the Ark Encounter protest. For some reason, Ken Ham hates his guts, but he's coming anyway.
Yeah. Ken Hovind is coming? I don't believe that.
Yeah. The AIG do not like Ken Hovind.
Well, AIG has called Kent Hovind out for using bad arguments.
Yeah.
See, I have always conflagrated AIG and Hovind, and I've always kind of assumed that they were the same thing.
No, they're not.
Great. I'll use that against him now.
There's a lot of close relationship. In fact, familial relationship. One of the reasons that AIG doesn't like Kent is because they do like Eric. Because as you may recall, when Kent went to prison, Eric just nicked his entire ministry. And now Eric is worth over $14 million. And Eric likes to produce movies with his $14 million.
What kind of movies?
Stuff like Trump, the President of Destiny 2024.
Oh my God. Oh, I assumed he was into porn. I'm sorry.
If only.
No, but he's also done like movies shot on his iPhone, like Night at the Creation Museum.
Yes, on an iPhone. It was so great.
Go ahead.
Well, to be fair, these actually do have pretty good cameras now. This is an iPhone, but the Samsung S23. And yes, my GoPro can actually record
This wasn't the one where he was going around the blooming natural history. He was even just going, not true, not true, not true.
It was a copy of Ben Stiller's night at the museum. He was at the
Okay.
Creation Museum, and the exhibits come to life. So he got chased by dinosaurs, and then chased by cavemen, and then chased by some other fucking thing.
I've seen a review of that weird Christian version of it.
He's actually
Also-
made 3 of those. He
I'd
did
like-
another one at the Ark Encounter, and the third one is at one of the Creation Museums in Texas.
Okay, I would like to address something in chat a little bit ago. I might be less interesting in person. I mean, I can't be snarky and sarcastic all the time.
Well, then I think plans are going to have to change.
Step up your game.
We were counting on you for to be the entertainment. God damn it.
Well, I was going to say, people who saw my old YouTube channel know I somehow got a reputation for being snarky. But honestly, it's like I don't miss it at this point. Well, I do miss it sometimes, but I don't really miss like the whole drama that was behind it.
Okay, I think I know what you're referring to. So,
Oh. Yeah, I've got too much to do before Saturday.
Well,
I really shouldn't be doing this stream because I got so much to do, but you know, this is the thing I'm supposed to be here for.
well, I could give you the sacred information that's in this book.
But then you'd have to kill her.
It just says 42.
Over and over and over. So what are we doing for Disobedience Day? I technically have some tea, but I'd like to drink it later.
My cat is being a cat.
Just go to the store and get some Lipton. Nobody cares if you throw that in the garbage.
I was going to
that's
say for a
To
cat,
be
every
fair-
day it's
I'm British, and I'll say throw Lipton in the garbage.
yeah. I don't like tea.
I drink Bigelow's.
I
Or
am
Tetley.
Tetley's nice.
I am going to be making up some of my Dragon Ball tea for people to sample at the
Wait a minute.
Ark
Wait.
Encounter
How long,
party.
how long do you have to cook a dragon's balls for tea?
13 minutes.
Oh, okay. Soft tissue, I guess.
You have to broil them at 5. I don't know.
It depends on how many commercial breaks you need to get into that fight scene until the end of the season.
But if you have all 7 of them, don't broil them first. Make your wish first.
A dragon has 7 balls?
Mage got it.
Apparently, yes.
Mage got it if no one else did.
I was sure it was a Dragon Ball Z reference, but I have not watched the show, so
I haven't
Yeah,
either,
yeah.
but I know enough. It's like if you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you get a wish.
Mm-hmm. Depending on the type of when you use, some of them you get more than one wish.
Of course, if I were the Great Cosmic Dragon and somebody had 7 of my balls, I'd be inclined to grant a wish too.
Well, the thing is, after you collect them all, I think they scatter again
Yep, and they become inert for a year.
after you make your wish.
It's like this one drug I'm on, was on, amiodarone. It's got 2 lovely features about it, other than making sure my heart doesn't explode. It has this half-life of a year. That shit stays in your body for a couple years before it's pretty much inert.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the great things about being on Synthroids. Like, I can go off it for a while, and it'll be like a couple weeks before I feel any symptoms.
The other thing is that when you're after therapeutic dose, you fart like crazy, and I mean fart like crazy. It's embarrassing and bad.
My unfinished journey, he actually died 2 weeks ago. If you read the headline. But no one really cared because
We do like to report news late in this country because we're keeping up with bullshit like alligator prisons and whatnot. Like, I
mean
just
alligator
got
hospital?
news. Yes. I just got news first thing this morning that was posted last night that Marcy Rygard or whatever, the trans lady who washed her hands in Florida, her case was thrown out on a technicality weeks ago, and the news is just now getting around to reporting on it.
Honestly,
Really?
those laws
Wait.
are going to be unenforceable.
Wait a minute. Could you describe that again?
Which part?
The whole thing.
Okay, I just got news this morning that was published last night that 2 weeks ago, Marcy Reingart's case got thrown out on a technicality. I'm mispronouncing her last name, but the trans lady who washed her hands in Florida.
Oh God, I hope so.
Yeah,
I was so frightened for her. She's such appears to be such a slight and delicate woman. I would just be so afraid for her surviving in prison.
Yeah, I mean, it's good news for her, but it means that the law doesn't ever get challenged because it was just the prosecutors missed a deadline to file some paperwork.
well, I have a feeling those laws are going to quickly become unenforceable.
It wouldn't surprise me if they don't have a prosecutor who's intelligent enough to say, I'm not going anywhere with this because this is such bogus shit. I don't want my name attached to this sort of ignorant law.
Yeah, I could see that the prosecutor intentionally missed the deadline because they don't want to be in the news about it.
It's like all these red states that keep saying we're going to prosecute people according to our state's lines. It's like, you can't do that. It's like, you can try, but you're not allowed to do this.
The audacity of that little Pammy Bondage to say the crap she does about if you do this or that, we're going to come and get you. She's having, let's see, who's she having investigated now? A media platform, a major mainstream media platform for supporting one concept over another. And
The media has done two things wrong with Trump. First off, they need to stop giving him attention. That's the way you deal with a malignant narcissist. Secondly, they need to stand up to these people and mock them relentlessly. Pam Bondi is a moron. Well, I don't know if she's a moron, but she's as incompetent as the rest of Trump's picks, all of whom have no business being in their job.
Yeah.
She is a pro at wrapping her lips around every possible fissure, isn't she?
Well, Trump threatened to pull ABC's broadcast license. And since he has stuffed the FCC with his own cronies, that wasn't entirely a hollow threat.
On the other hand, Disney is not really... If Disney wanted to fight that, they could, because Disney's been pretty evil themselves. And they have deliberately gone against Ron DeSantis and just done things to deliberately annoy him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not because of sometimes because of principle, but sometimes just because, you moron. It's like...
Well, because DeSantis was ruining...
Sorry, go ahead.
They did it because DeSantis was ruining the tourist industry in Florida. People were not wanting to go to Florida because of DeSantis.
Well, what do you want from a company that makes $1 billion off of a cartoon movie about some little baby deer that's mother gets exploded by a bullet?
And puts copyright on their versions of stories that have been public domain for hundreds of years?
Well, the fact that they are their versions means that they can copyright those. Those are public domain.
That's questionable because there's a special niche in copyright law for derivative works. Sometimes it's okay and you can copyright the derivative product. Sometimes it retains the copyright of whatever the status of the parent work, whether it's public domain or owned by someone else. It gets really complicated.
But I'm guessing something like Disney's Hercules, where Hercules does not kill his wife and children, which he does in the original. I mean, there's no way you're going to confuse that with the actual Greek myth.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention something else about Florida, and I've supplied a photo in the DM to augment my cause, as it were. our little Rhonda Santis. I'm sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Anyways, we have our first concentration camp down there, and we've all noticed how it's been being called Alligator Alcatraz. Now, I understand the romance behind Alcatraz, that not only did it have its reputation in San Francisco Bay, but Trump, seems to want to restore it, probably to a personal country club. But I think what is much more relevant for the day and what our politics are doing is it should be named Alligator Auschwitz.
That's what most people are calling it now.
And if you would bring up that little image I just uploaded.
I appreciate that name and all the various puns intended, but I also enjoy calling it wish.com Alcatraz because, I mean, look at it.
now there's two versions of it. I just uploaded the second version, so if you could show this for a while and then show the second version, and I want to take a vote.
Are you not dating yourself a little with that reference? Shouldn't it be now like Timu Alcatraz?
All right, but
Timu actually has better quality than Wish.
Well, true.
As far as DeSantis goes, they should call him Dickhead DeSantis.
I am sure that nothing is going to go wrong by putting highly flammable materials in the only dry land in the middle of a swamp that can be easily accessed by, what are those boats called with the fans in the back?
Swamp boats.
Fan boats?
Swamp boats. Fan boats. There's a specific name for them, and I don't think either of those are correct. But
I don't know. I know what you're describing, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
you buggy.
Here's the second version with the lovely phrase that we see over the signs in Auschwitz.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's appropriate yet.
Well, that's kind of why I have it both ways, because I'm not sure
Airboats, that's what they're called.
I love
repulsive that
both
is.
ways.
But that's the slogan on the actual Auschwitz, and it's freedom through work or something along those stupid lines. Yeah, that's it. Work makes you free. Correct. So, if you'd like to offer an opinion up there in chat, I would love to take a survey, and I'll use whatever you guys say I should use. But I do like the little corner plate. It looks so quaint, don't you think?
Hey, I mean, there have been American political figures that have spent the last years of their life in prisons they built, like Boss Tweed.
In Auburn, New York. They made the prisoners, it was the first, like, what we now call maximum security penitentiary built in the United States, and they made the prisoners build it themselves and lock themselves in their own cells.
Auburn, New York, that's where they built those cars, isn't it? Sinister, isn't that true?
Cars.
The Auburn automobiles.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Auburn automobiles were built in Auburn, Indiana.
Yeah, I have no idea what.
So I thought I was giving Indiana a jab by saying Auburn, New York.
Building your own prison, that sounds like a really good incentive to build it half-assed.
Okay, so
right.
The problem with giving Indiana a jab is Indiana is already a joke.
Yep. So if the prisoners were building the prison, did they build it with escape tunnels already?
Yeah,
I honestly want to know with this alligator Alcatraz, and I'm serious when I ask this question, what the hell's going to happen when the hurricanes come through? I mean, this place is not on the coast, but it's that portion of Florida halfway through is not as big as the far northern areas halfway between the coasts.
Easy. The top staff will go into a secure bunker and let the rest of it get wiped out with the prisoners and the guards, and they won't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's
a pretty good spot. That place does that particular area does get hit by hurricanes pretty often.
Yeah, I tracked down the hurricane tracks for that portion for a long time. Let me get that photo to us.
I would not be surprised if hurricanes were part of the reason they gave up using it as an airbase.
So here's a question I have, because hurricanes are much larger than the storms we deal with here, with the exception of derechos, which. But
Did you hear about Las Vegas yesterday and their little derecho?
Yeah, well, I saw something on Clapper about poles getting down. I'm like, that's probably a storm. Derechos do cause a lot of damage, but I don't know if that was a derecho or just a severe thunderstorm.
It was straight line winds that took down every single light post on this several mile stretch of road in Las Vegas.
A derecho is not necessarily a severe thunderstorm.
No, it's a straight line wind.
No, derechos are a specific type of thunderstorm with a specific definition. That what happened in Vegas could have been straight line winds. It could have been a haboob. It could have. I'm just saying I don't know it was a derecho. It could have been. What I was trying to say is like what are the odds that a specific place will get hit by a hurricane in any given year? Like the odds where I live will get hit by a tornado is 1 in 700.
Well,
now, tornadoes are smaller, but
it's Florida. It pretty much gets hit every year.
But that's the entire state.
I mean, we very rarely get either, but I think tornadoes are a little more frequent in the UK than hurricanes. I mean, I can only remember one actual proper hurricane that I've actually lived through. Because sometimes they come across like the channel, but they normally, the Atlantic, they normally have died out a little bit by the time they reach us, and might. But we had a proper full blown hurricane in 1987 that hit the south coast of the UK.
No,
and
Jeff,
I lived for that. So
no, you're suffering from survivor's bias. See,
yeah,
you remember the one you lived through. You don't remember all the hurricanes you died in.
Okay, Perp, I uploaded 3 more images of southern Florida. First map is a location of the actual concentration camp.
Well, I'm also thinking that if they try this, there's going to be like some Cajun-style navy and an underground railroad.
It's a pretty secure place. There's only one way in, one road that goes into it.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking the airboats are going to use the road.
I'm not thinking airboats would be used at all. They're pretty impossible to camouflage auditorially. There's another little meme I made.
Yeah, but how about homemade canoes?
There's going to be thousands of men there. How many do you think the canoes you're going to need?
No, I'm just saying for a handful of prisoners to escape.
That would be possible.
I mean, honestly, as soon as Trump's out of power, that's going to get shut down anyway. So.
Okay, that's good enough for the first one, so people know the general area that we're talking about.
And I'm thinking, I don't know. I have a feeling there's going to be, and I'm not advocating this. I have a feeling there are going to be some acts of sabotage delaying this.
Okay,
no, I get it.
This one is self-explanatory, of course. Then I thought I would bring it more home than total history. This is more recent.
Well, hurricanes are also much bigger than tornadoes.
These are your hurricane tracks. I don't know the extended period of time, but pretty much the entire South just kind of disappears, which I like.
That almost looks like the entire record almost there.
Yeah. So I just threw that one, and the next one is more legitimate for
we can't see Florida at all there.
Well, keep in mind, Florida also gets.
Yep, that was the last one you uploaded.
Florida also gets more tornadoes than any other state per square mile. Largely because of hurricanes, but because tornadoes can form during hurricanes after they make landfall.
Yeah, I've had that happen before.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had another. My
But I was gonna say, people are not going to live if there's like an even like the weak tornadoes coming through there in a tent.
but you could put the next picture up instead. Did everybody see the quote where our president actually came out and expressed a certain level of glee that people could be eaten by alligators down there?
Yes, we've all seen it.
So somebody produced this meme as a response. I hope you enjoy. I know Kathy Griffin would.
Couldn't care less, but
I don't know. That doesn't look so much like he's eating and being eaten as the gator's blowing him out of his nose.
It's just a meme. Now, do you get the Kathy Griffin reference?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
inquiry finds the British committed genocide on Indigenous and Australians. Okay.
And this is
And
a
that's
surprise.
new.
How?
I don't know, because it's like saying it's like the Americans committed genocide on their native population. It's just history at this point. It's not good history, but it happened.
Haven't the British pretty much tried to do that with every place they colonized?
I mean,
I was going to say that the difference is Americans only did genocide on the land we're living on. The British did genocide on every territory they could find.
I think they weren't.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not a defender of British imperialism by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but
I don't think it is,
I will
because
say
it pretty
that
much is.
Has Britain got its hands dirty in something? Absolutely. It's. I mean, the entire one of the inspirations for H.G. Wells's novel War of the World was what the British did in Tasmania. To the Aboriginal population there.
I think if we go back in history, and this is just cursory from memories of history class in high school and shit, isn't it pretty much every colonizing country, body, whatever you want to call it, has done that for wherever they've colonized?
Well, this is the thing about British, about British. We got involved in World War One, I think, to defend plucky Belgian resistance, just to the way that the Belgians, with plucky Congolese,
Yeah, and the Dutch did it, and the Germans did it, and the Belgians did it, and.
Jenny, I'm not sure of the accuracy of your tracking of the 25 worst hurricanes in U.S. history. There should be at least 3 going over my head, and there's only 1.
Well, I didn't put the chart together. I just took it from the weather site that had it. So,
not to mention, I think one should have gone to Galveston, but I don't know if that went through Florida or not.
Well, I mean, there's the criteria of what determines worst. How are they measuring it? Is it strength? Is it dollar value and damage? Is it lives lost? There's a bunch of different ways. But
even then, there should be at least 2 going around near me.
I suspect their criteria was the size of the paper they had.
I would like that, but I also don't think historically genocide has been the goal of most empires, because killing off the people there, if they're producing stuff, wasn't really the goal.
Yeah,
historically, enslaving people was more common.
Yeah, genocides are a function of control, not necessarily a goal themselves. Although sometimes that is, to go back to the United States genocide of Native Americans, which took place in several different waves. Sometimes it was just to free up the land. They didn't expressly want to kill anyone. They just didn't care if everyone died. And other times it was specifically to kill everyone, and they didn't care what else happened. It's all about priorities, you see.
Well, yeah, to free up the land is what led to the whole Trail of Tears thing.
But I'm also thinking it's like the Roman Empire wasn't really interested in displacing the people when they took it over.
Right. The
the most
Romans
part.
only used genocide as a mechanism of political control. If you disobeyed too hard, then you'd end
Yes,
up
then they
like
would-
X group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But most-
the Romans were fine to let you stay on your land as long as you paid your taxes.
Where
Produced wealth for the empire, yes.
they Romans, I think, very much understood the whole carrot and stick principle, should we just say?
But also, it's like during the Roman Empire, the idea of what a Roman was expanded to include everyone in the empire, but citizen, everyone in the empire.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
Well,
weren't
but
brought
the
down by
Roman-
debauchery; they were brought down by slavery and imperialism and corruption in the Senate. Oh, pretty much like we have today.
Except without the benefit of realizing that it's to the advantage of the polity to extend citizen level status to everyone who might remotely qualify.
Ding, 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 ding. See, now that's why you would never be a good politician.
That and my ears don't regenerate very well.
I don't buy that one either because as far as I know, the bullet didn't actually hit his ear; it just grazed it.
Yeah.
My understanding was it wasn't the bullet at all, but it was a piece of the shattered teleprompter.
No, that was debunked.
Okay.
It was the bullet, but it just grazed it slightly, and he just played up on it even more than actually it was.
Based on that photograph of the bullet, there's no way you can say that it was a chip from the teleprompter. It's just the angle's
did
all
not
wrong.
see
Are we
that photo.
Are we talking about the shot taken at Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh God. I had a bit of an issue with, shall we say, some of the conspiracy theories coming out that was sort of suggesting that was all a bit of a setup or whatever, and I'm like, that was
not a setup.
No,
I have worked in emergency rooms, and I have worked on independent movie scene films, film production where we use stage blood. What I saw in the pictures of Trump is stage blood, not actual.
That was
human
not
blood.
stage blood.
No, it wasn't.
Sorry,
No,
it's
it wasn't.
way too watery. Way too watery.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, I just don't think his ear was that badly damaged.
No, it just wasn't that badly damaged. It was just maybe grazed a little bit. Just bled a lot.
And honestly, if you ever do get cut in that area, it does bleed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, to me, just going logically, right? When I look at any, when it comes to, like, should we say, U.S. presidents or presidential candidates, in only one case, was there ever a conspiracy involving an assassination involving the U.S. president, and that was Lincoln.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm included. Everyone else, every single other one, it was a lone assassin. And yes, I am including Kennedy on that one. You know as well, because I don't believe any of the conspiracy. Because I think now I used to believe some of the conspiracy theories there, but I haven't looked at it more. I think the Kennedy conspiracy theories are bullshit.
But Jeff, that's what the government wants you to think.
Personally, I like Red Dwarf's explanation of who killed Kennedy.
I will say that out of any conspiracy theory, Red Dwarf's one is the funniest. Yes,
Red Dwarf, they go back in history and change a lot of history so JFK lives, but it turns out really bad, so they have to go back and have JFK be the second gunman.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah. That is, wow. Yeah. I remember that. That was one of my favorite episodes, actually. Yeah.
And obviously, I don't know if you've been out of the country, but I'm assuming that you haven't, and so it actually has shown in America, and it didn't get any response. Wow.
I mean, Red Dwarf's what, 10, 20 years old now?
Oh, easily. That episode must be about 20 years old at least.
Yeah,
probably longer than that, actually.
Didn't they just release some new Red Dwarf episodes?
Yeah.
I mean,
they sort of brought it back for a little while. It was okay, but it wasn't quite the same as the original run. It's I loved Red Dwarf. I thought that was such a funny series.
For those of you who have never seen Red Dwarf, it's kind of a parody of both British and American science fiction.
Mm.
The whole premise is the guy gets like put into deep sleep, something happens, and he's brought back 3 million years later.
I always love the fact that that I heard the story from one of the main actors in it, Craig Charles, who plays one of the character Lister, is one of the main characters. Now, you got to understand something about a little bit about British culture. That there's a bit of a rivalry between Manchester and Liverpool, and the two guys who wrote the show were from Manchester, and they really resisted casting Craig Charles. And the way Craig Charles said it in his Liverpool accent, it says they did not want the last human being in the universe to be a Scouser. Which is like for someone from Liverpool, you know, it's like that's like they're not the last, because essentially he is the last human being living in the universe, and he was a Liverpudlian slob, you know.
Now, is that worse than being a scummer?
If you're from Manchester, yeah. There's a big like rivalry with Manchester and Liverpool. I mean, even though the two cities, they're not that far apart, it's like there's a big rivalry there.
Yeah.
They're probably warring tribes from before there was an England.
Mm.
That's like the baffling rivalry between Indiana and Kentucky. It's like it's like when I moved here, it's like it's like I don't get it.
Well, I would say there's a rivalry between Minnesota and Iowa, but that's kind of more like a battle of wits against an unarmed opponent.
Oh, stop saying the bad thing about Wisconsin. That's not true.
No, Iowa.
Wisconsin does
Iowa, not Wisconsin.
Oh, Iowa. Oh, I'm sorry. I definitely misheard that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
Iowa. There's no excuse for Iowa other than it's really close to Missouri, so it's a kind of a bleed over.
You know why they made Minnesota? Because Canada refused to be next to Iowa.
Because
that's a good
was
one.
already taken.
Well, then when they do take us, then they just take like a band of 100 miles of southern Minnesota and give it to I don't know, Wisconsin.
Back to my story.
Well,
when I first moved here,
okay.
my roommate was trying to convince me how bad Kentucky was, and I'm like, wait, you do realize, like, as far as the rest of the country is concerned, this is totally stupid because you're both a bunch of rednecks.
Yep.
Well, Kentucky rates over Indiana for two reasons.
Mountains?
Three reasons actually. One, popcorn gets stuck in your teeth. Two, it's always good to have to invent a form of grass. And three, they have a Democratic governor.
I've only ever been to 2 U.S. states in my life. Two times I've been to America. Once when I was a kid, Florida, and the second time as an adult was Kentucky. So,
I mean, Florida was probably reasonable back then.
There's two people in Kentucky that I have crushes on, so I always have to go with Kentucky. I'm sorry.
It's a silly thing. It's just, it's like this Hoosier was like, yeah, Indiana's so great compared to Kentucky. I'm like, you do realize how the rest of the country views both of you, right?
Well, okay, now my geography might be poor here. What states do you contact at the very southern tip? Is that all Kentucky or Tennessee come in there somewhere?
At the southern, I think it's Kentucky and Illinois.
You're next to Ohio. You can compare yourself to Ohio.
I did
establish in a lot of ways.
I did establish one thing when I was in Kentucky, and that is that Kentucky Fried Chicken, even in Kentucky, is still shit.
Well,
yeah.
Isn't that Indiana's state motto? At least we're not Ohio.
Listen, I've been trying to lobby for Ohio to change its motto to like 3 unnecessary hours of a road trip to Pennsylvania for years.
Well,
That-
I always heard Alabama's state motto was "We're glad Oklahoma exists."
Yeah, well, that's just all made up crap in Alabama. They're number 50 in almost everything.
No,
Uh,
Alabama and Mississippi managed to rank at least down in the bottom 5 for almost everything.
I mean, I'm going to say generally, I'm being serious now, but generally, I'd say my experiences in Kentucky were quite genuinely really good. I quite like people there, with one or two very glaring exceptions, and I think maybe because the first time I was like really exposed to, shall we say, real fundamentalist, like hate preachy type people was there. And because I think I mentioned that I used to do American Civil War reenactments, didn't I? So that's why I was in Kentucky.
mhm.
And there was a woman speaking to me and my friend Paul, and she recognised our accents as being. You guys come all the way over from England? Or we said, yeah, we come all over. And then all of a sudden, what the hell are you going to do with all those goddamn Muslims in your country? You got to kill them all. And my jaw just dropped, and I'm like, okay. And she went into this blooming sermon or whatever, like preaching or whatever. Like it was like some Christian weird thing, and I didn't know. I was just like gobsmacked. This is the first time I'd ever listened to anything like this. But my friend Paul was quite good. He just said, "That doesn't sound very Christian of your mum," and But I know that was just. I mean, I've heard a lot worse since then, to be fair. But at the time, it was just, I don't know why that just like my jaw just dropped, and I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Scummer, I've always found it. You mentioned this years ago to me, and I just always found it odd that you, as a fine British gentleman, would want to reenact the American Civil War. It would be kind of like me wanting to go reenact Gallipoli or something.
Yeah, I know. Well,
you two can smell like an orange piece of shit.
We've got actually the biggest reenactment society we've got in Britain is the people who do our own Civil War, like the Cavaliers and Roundheads. There's quite a few of them here, but I mean, I've heard all sorts of like things about like the reenactor community in the United States being like really right wing, and a lot of them like. I'm only going to say I can only say from my own personal experience. I didn't see that, but like I have heard that's a bit of a thing that there with some of the reenactor communities in the United States, but.
I couldn't even begin to discuss percentages, but I have known a number of very, very liberal left wingers who are into reenactments of various situations.
Yeah.
Oh God, Odie Toilette.
Yeah. Apparently, this is Trump's latest scam, as far as I can tell. $249 for smell like shit, and it comes with a gold statue of him.
And do you want to bet that the Trump cologne for men and the Trump perfume for women smell exactly alike?
Probably.
Ode depends.
Well, will your skin turn orange if you spray that on?
I don't know.
Oh, I saw this video yesterday of a Latin guy. I don't know where he's from, but he's making a piñata that looks like Trump, and it's all done and it's all painted, and it doesn't look exactly like him, but well enough that you know it's him. And he's unsatisfied with it, so he has to make it more accurate. So he gets a bag of Cheetos and crumbles them up and dips his paintbrush in there. He made a paint out of the crumbs and paints the Cheetos all over his face.
Well,
it was so funny.
The Cheeto in chief,
Cheeto face shit gibbon.
Cheeto Benito.
Did you see that someone is like putting up like art displays in like a National Mall? And the most recent one was just a golden television that showed nothing but Trump and dancing next to Epstein.
Oh God. I saw a video of a guy who went into a Trump superstore. This is his actual name, Trump Superstore, and it was everything Trump, from, well, basically Trump tampons to a gold watch.
Where's the Trump vomit buckets? I'll need one.
Well, that was my question. Do they sell the Trump toilet paper?
Trump tampons?
I just made that up, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I have seen a Trump dildo.
Melania brand. Anyway.
I think they're they Trump tampons. They call pussy grabbers or something.
Somebody had to go there.
Oh well,
that's what they call them there.
Yeah.
Scummer, is that what they call them there?
No, I just spitballing. Like Purple said, someone had to take the low road. I thought it might as well be me.
God, we thank you for that. We thank you for that smiting, but we would wish you would hurry up the smiting of Donald Trump.
They are called plugs here.
I would like to point out we now our distinguished guest in our chat, God himself, ladies and gentlemen.
Praise the Lord.
The fuck took you so long? And also, why is Kenneth Copeland still around? Like, get busy, my guy. You've got shit to do.
It's Swagger dead.
Thank you very much for your recent efforts.
Sorry, if I missed something, is Swagger dead?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sorry. I've not kept up with any news, so I didn't know. So, and yeah, okay. And yeah, more to the point, why is Copeland still here?
Are we sure Copeland is actually human and not just a robot?
I'm reasonably sure that Copeland is actually a demon.
No, I tried to run him on Linux. He's not compatible.
I'll say this about, I'm not one of those people, shall we say, that takes, shall we say, any pleasure or would celebrate someone's demise. But I've broken that rule twice. I've broken that rule twice in my lifetime. One was for Margaret Thatcher, and the other was for Pat Robertson. So,
to be fair, this is not a joke. Right on the level, one of the things Slothgirl said we should do for her memorial is build a bonfire and dance around singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead."
I mean, I have permission to do a whole bunch of silly things at my sister's funeral.
well, like, do you know that song almost got to #1 in the UK charts when Thatcher died?
Speaking of which, does anyone have a sonic screwdriver I can purchase off of them?
Mine's out of batteries.
Sorry, I only
Does
have
it
a
need to be
I only have a
operational?
Mario screwdriver.
No. I just have permission to wear the clothes my sister was wearing when she died and go to her funeral, take one of those out and say, right, this is where it gets complicated.
Oh dear.
Sinister, sometimes you are so fucking bizarre. I love it.
Without Slothgirl here, I need somebody to make sure that my funeral will be carried on the way that I had intended. And one of the things is somebody needs to hire a ventriloquist to sit in the front row and respond to everybody who comes up to the coffin.
And I've also told her epitaph is going to be nothing is written in stone.
Perp, nowadays you could just put it through Bluetooth. It'd be much more efficient.
I think the way I want to go out is for my funeral is I want someone to install like a jack-in-the-box mechanism in my coffin.
That happened. That's in a horror or manga.
However, I have finally convinced her I cannot spread her ashes over the local steakhouse salad bar.
Perp, I left another photograph to share. The newest rendition. I have it as my avatar. The newest rendition of our presidential seal.
Well, if I have it, I want to read, you're next.
So, a fun fact: we were talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken earlier. Colonel Sanders was not from Kentucky.
No, he wasn't.
He was from Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, see, there's your claim to fame: popcorn and Colonel Sanders.
I think you're forgetting about a race that's kind of world famous. Takes place every May, Sunday before Memorial Day.
I don't think it's really fair to talk about races in this climate here.
Yeah,
That's IndyCar. It's not a real sport.
I mean, I go out of my way to ignore it.
Now, you realize that if Porpoise went onto the main street of Indianapolis and said that, she would not walk home.
It's not IndyCar is not real motor racing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I ignore F1 too.
So
Yeah,
do I
that-
actually.
That whole F1 series of let's start this race and whoever comes out.
Yeah, I know.
First,
I mean, this
on the pace lap. Is the
I know.
winner.
I mean, this whole. But I mean, I know. Like in America, like with motor racing, they don't get. I mean, they don't get this whole concept of like I don't know, being able to steer around a corner. That's just why all your circuits are ovals, you know. So.
Actually, no. IndyCar runs on road courses.
So does NASCAR.
Yeah. And anybody who ever harasses American racing because it's an oval track, some of them are tri-ovals, not that matters that much. But I challenge any of you to take a car 190 to 210 miles an hour, 3 inches from the door of somebody else for 500 miles.
No, thank you.
You ain't going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I'm an
I do that on a fucking motorcycle.
Wait, run that criteria past me again, because it sounds familiar.
We're not talking about your interstate driving, Ember.
Ember, she said to do it in a car, not in your semi.
Oh, I also forgot, you guys, Indiana, don't you have Dan Quayle too?
I'm not from Indiana. In case you've forgotten, I'm Pennsylvania Dutch.
Dan Quayle. I seem to remember I've got somewhere in a book like the top 10, so like, and I just remember it's like 10 quotes attributed to Dan Quayle. And I think one of my favourite ones is about that where he said he was trying to learn some Latin for when he went to Latin America.
Besides, as dumb as Dan Quayle was given credit for being, I think he's kind of lost the race for dumbest politician to Donald Trump.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we made fun of Dan Quayle at the time. He looks like a fucking genius in comparison to some of the ones nowadays.
Trump has it over Quayle because he's able to semi-fake it, and he's not.
I have never seen Trump speak a coherent sentence.
No.
I mean, convincing people you're smart isn't the same thing as actually being smart. Trump is a stupid person's idea of a smart man.
Yep.
I mean, the one I will always remember, you mentioned Dan Quayle. One I'm always going to remember is the because this even made news in the UK. Him in the classroom with the kids and the spelling potato.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was
but
not a spelling bee competition.
After that hit the news and he learned that you don't spell potato with an E at the end,
Yeah.
he changed his own name and took off the E.
I don't know. I just remember that one of the best headlines I ever read was Bush spent the day shooting quail.
That's a good one, yeah.
Let's see, who was it that actually shot somebody? Oh yeah.
Dick Cheney.
Yes,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dick Cheney shot his friend in the face and made his friend apologize for it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You shouldn't have gotten in my way. You know?
What did you think of Cheney's? I mean, what did you think of Cheney's vice president, that guy Bush?
Chinese.
I miss Bush right now.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, there was always this thing I was hearing at the time that Cheney was the real president and Bush was kind of the.
Oh, absolutely.
That was what I was hearing. That was always what I was hearing at the time. That I would always hear Vice President Bush and President Cheney.
The problem is George W. Bush's folksy, stupid demeanor was an act.
Speaking of vice presidents, how about Elon Musk this week? And he's going to get Trump, and he wants to start a new party, and he's just went over all the stuff that he pretended he never said all over again.
Yeah, if Trump, I mean, Musk needs to pick a side.
I think it would be great for Musk to start his own party, because he's the only one who could possibly take some of the Trump cultists with him and split the vote.
I don't know. I'm afraid that he has enough false bravado, just like Trump did, that he's going to suck in the same people, and it's just going to be a continuation of what we got going, because he's clearly a Nazi. He was raised in a Nazi environment. His parents had promoted him Nazi sensitivity in their family.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That they would split the Nazi vote in half, and that would guarantee somebody from the other party would get elected.
But he won't, because Trump is because Trump is failing, and he's going to be absolutely unusable as a president, and they're going to be looking for someone else, and it's either going to end up being Vance or Musk. And both of them are much more notorious Nazis than Trump could ever hope to be.
I don't think Musk. I mean, is he even eligible? First of all, is he even eligible to be president of the United States?
No, he isn't. No,
exactly. I don't think he'd want to be, even if he was. But would he want his own man there?
However,
yeah,
there's a problem.
I'd see him more not starting his own party, but maybe trying to find his own. I'd see him more trying to find his own blooming candidate within the Republican Party. That's more what I'd see him doing.
Let's not forget, Elon Musk spent $20 million to try and buy a state election in Wisconsin and failed.
I was going to say, there's also one thing that's missing in this analysis. Whether we like it or not, Trump has enough charisma to bring people over to his side. People like watching him be casually cruel. Musk and what was the other person, J.D. Vance, don't have any of that. Plus, J.D. Vance has had a lot of memes spread about him that I all hated recently, just because it's like Trump's regime overreacted.
Yeah, Trump, the cult mentality around Trump makes him a special case. He's in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing that Trump somehow has a lot of conservatives still believing that he is like a biblical figure.
I have no problem believing that if the Antichrist exists, Trump would be that.
Oh, he's definitely the Antichrist, biblically speaking. But also, notably, he's the only world leader who has made physical contact with J.D. Vance and didn't die. Yeah. Because he's already dead.
Wait, I'm pretty sure, J.D. Vance has made contact with other world leaders besides the Pope.
Yeah.
Think of him as your Antichrist in a closet.
Now, I'm a bit offended by all of that, because I am the Antichrist.
I mean, he does have those hats that you wear on the forehead.
Yep,
and now he has red watches, so.
Mm-hmm. And Trump coin, and all he needs is 7 hills or some, and maybe that's Robert and Mar-a-Lago. I don't know.
To be honest, I'd if it wasn't for the fact that he was so dangerous, I find Trump amusing in a certain way. The fact that he's got so many of these evangelicals who are acting like he's the second coming, and yet
evangelicals,
and yet the thing is, he represents pretty much everything they bloody preach against on their Sunday sermons, you know.
Expecting ideological consistency from theologues is a silly mistake.
Well,
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that Trump was so dangerous, I'd find him amusing. I really would.
Trump.
well, that's why his show is so highly rated.
Trump was a good TV character. He should not have been put in charge of anything.
I mean, that's maybe the only good thing we can say about the UK is that at least with our version of The Apprentice, we haven't actually managed to make Alan Sugar Prime Minister.
I'll be right back.
I gave him a peerage, which is bad enough,
but you did have Boris Johnson.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, Boris Johnson was cosplaying Trump light.
Boris, actually, even before Trump started this whole political race, Boris was playing the buffoon for a long time, the sort of lovable buffoon. And that's kind of how he made his reputation in a sense. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, yeah, if anyone had really bothered to look into Boris Johnson, even in his early days, people would see, yeah, he was a nasty piece of work. Always was.
Well, and I hear that they've had to even replace all of his buses.
Yeah. But yeah, well, from when he was mayor of London, yeah.
Sorry, maybe I'm the only one outside of the UK who gets why that's a joke.
Yeah.
I don't.
The Boris bus. Him paints his little thing where he paints buses. Okay, it's quite a famous clip in the UK. I can't quite describe. I can't do it justice by describing it. All I just have to say is, just go on YouTube, Google Boris Johnson buses, and that's all I'm going to say.
Do I really?
Just go there.
I was going to say, do I really want to get it?
No.
To be honest, I don't think it would like greatly enrich your life if you saw it. To be honest, so.
If you live outside the UK, it probably won't mean anything to you at all. I just have that holdover because I was reincarnated from a British sailor.
I mean, it's like knowing that Rod, God is my co-pilot, Blagojevich got pardoned. It's like, yeah, he was a minor figure. He was governor of Illinois. Sent to prison for corruption, and everyone.
I'm sorry.
And his hair was always meticulously groomed, so everyone called him. It's like, yeah, everyone said it's like God is my co-pilot.
Y'all heard about P. Diddy today, didn't ya?
No.
Nope.
No, I don't know if I want to
P. Diddy
hear.
walked away from all the major charges and got nailed with a couple.
Do you know how often I've been like on the app I've been on? Do you know how often I've been like hitting dislike on those videos because I just don't care.
Yeah. I don't care about celebrities to begin with, so.
I'm sure it's all over TikTok though, just by the number of videos I had to dislike.
Well, I haven't heard the specifics. I just saw the flash at the bottom of the screen. So that's all the detail I have, but I'm sure it's going to be driveled for ad and for bottom.
All right, I got to scoot. My ears are telling me enough headphones for today.
Okay.
To be honest, I think I'm going to call it a night right now because it's almost 10 o'clock and I'm going to have to get some sleep in a minute.
Well, before you guys run off, plug yourselves.
Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel that I haven't uploaded anything on in months and probably not got any foreseeable plans in right now to upload anything on it. So yeah, subscribe. You'll really love the upcoming content.
So, in other words, you're probably my worst competition.
Yeah, pretty well. You surpassed me a while ago about perps.
Well, no, I keep saying that my channel has just been an experiment in how far can I go on YouTube without putting in any actual effort.
I think you and I were sort of like neck and neck for quite a few, or like you'd have a few, then I'd overtake you, and then then
Yeah.
you'd overtake me for a little while. But no, I mean, I've just.
Oh,
It's been about 6 months, I think, since I've put anything up, and I've not really. I'm not saying I won't. No, I'm being serious now. I'm not saying I won't return to it at some point. I might do. It's just for the last few months, I just have not had the spoons to do YouTube, and it's like
I get you.
But Jeff, you have that cute accent.
Oh, I should have done a celebration stream because in June we finally hit 700 subscribers. So I think it was like 702 last time I looked.
How many survived?
666?
No, I
Oh,
missed
that's the one you
666.
got to
Yeah,
do.
I know. I forgot about that. Okay, Ember had to go, and Ember had a chance to plug her streams.
All right. Well, I shall love you and leave you all. So nice chatting with you all again.
Very nice to see you again, Jeff.
See you later. Right.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Actually, how do people feel about wrapping it up here? Because I've got a lot to do, and I didn't get much sleep. So
I'm fine with that. I'm kind of out of it today.
Yeah. By the time we're done with the wrap up, we'll be over 2 hours.
And I'll have to go shopping tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I still have to pack for the trip. So.
But I didn't get to plug my Substack.
Plug your Substack. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. It's just a little 300 word nothing.
Well, we should have a link for it though. You'll have to send me a link for it so that at least we can start putting the link in the description under your name.
All right, hold on a second. I'll get it and post it.
Just don't plug your butt on camera.
No, I would never do that. I'm a big asshole. And I don't want anybody to know how big.
I was going to say, this isn't OnlyFans.
I know. I don't get paid nearly enough.
Hey. There's a taste for everything out there. You just have to know how to promote it.
Let's see here.
The problem is you are someone fake, and that's disturbing.
Okay, here's the link-a-doodle. That's it. And that's my name on Substack is Jenny Bad Attitude. Because it's true.
Well,
I hope you guys have a really enjoyable time laughing at Jesus and shit. It looks like.
I don't know if I'll be laughing at Jesus.
Yeah. I'm glad that I said I couldn't go. I said so because I couldn't afford it, but now I really can't afford it. I lost my phone coverage that my sister-in-law has been giving me for a decade.
So
she's gone on hard times and just can't afford it. So
that sucks.
I won't know if I'm going to have a phone past August 1.
But I will have my trans pin and my asexual flag as Christian repellent.
I've got a couple of rainbow pins on my purse all the time.
I wish I would have thought of this ahead of time. I could have sent you my Roosevelt pin for you to wear. I
don't think that would have repelled all these Christians.
No, but all the older ones get upset when they see it. Yeah, I have a stroke, dude.
If I start making my dinner now on my new crock pot, I should have it ready by 8 o'clock.
Now you can get like the Eugene V. Debs pin from when he ran for president from prison, where it's just convict number with his picture.
Oh, really? Oh, I would love to get one of those.
I mean, they're collector's items, of course, but I'm sure you can find replicas.
Oh no, I generally only spend money on real stuff like that. I don't want a replica. I can look in a picture book for that.
I don't think you're going to be able to afford the real thing.
You never know.
Unless they're a lot less expensive than I think they are. Because they are collector's items.
Baseball cards that were going for $10,000 a few years ago are only going for $5,000 now. So you never know.
Well, that's what eBay is good for, is finding the collector's items.
I once said that I bought from eBay a pin from the Manhattan Project that was the silver one that was given to everybody, and then there was also a gold one that was given to certain people.
Does it glow in the dark?
No, but it got really, really hot. No, and I had them both on a hat that I had, and I lost the hat. Actually, I think somebody stole the hat because it had those two and a couple other very cool pins.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. One of them was one of my dad's globe and anchor marine thing that he wore in World War II.
So, Mage, what have you got coming up on your channels?
Probably is kind of flying by the seat of my pants this time, but I do have Life Force I'm planning to do for trivia.
I don't remember if I ever saw that one or not.
A lot of nudity.
Mm-hmm.
Nakedity.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but what was up on the screen at the time?
Well, she was 18 at least.
How do you know?
Well, that's what they mentioned. Well, apparently there was some argument over her shaving to make her, that made it look too young.
No, nobody can use that anymore. I thought she was over 18 because that's what Trump said.
Yeah.
So, Porpoise, you got something coming up Friday night, I assume?
This Friday is July 4th. I have plans on watching fireworks, which I will not be streaming.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I thought you guys were going to the Ark Encounter this weekend.
But
yeah.
That's the 5th.
Yeah, that's going to be a driving all day Saturday for me.
Oh, man. Oh,
and
that's brutal.
She's going to meet me in my city, and I'm going to buy... It's like,
yep.
We're going to meet at Cracker Barrel. And
At least I have found a route that I don't need to go through Chicago for it, so...
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We've got a half a tank of gas, a full pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Yep. Yay, Elroy!
Sorry.
Good old Jake and Elroy.
Yep.
I love that movie. We'll have to do that as one of the movie nights sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I recognized a lot of the local scenery because I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. In fact, when they're driving in one scene, they go past the house of the girl I took to prom.
Aww.
Oh, and for those of you who wants to get into the midnight shows I do on Thursdays, we'll be starting a new anime this time.
So if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's Mad Computer Scientist. If you want to download an app called Clapper, since I can't be on TikTok, at least until I know whether I'm going to be back as teacher next year, it's again Mad Computer Scientist. I'm probably going to change that to the Sinister Porpoise. And depending on how things go, I'll either come back to YouTube and start looking for another job or continue with the job I was doing, which would be the best overall financial option.
So you're still in limbo about that, huh? They haven't told you?
Well, they haven't killed my account yet, which isn't which is a positive sign, but it's not absolute.
Well, they haven't not told you.
Well, I mean, sometimes educational institutions just move slowly. particularly if it's a school district.
Well, yeah, it's another level of bureaucracy.
Now, if they didn't hire you, you could still do substitute teaching.
They might want me to come back as like the building sub again next year, which would be fine. It's
the golden
just
sub.
building sub.
Oh, okay.
One that's attached to the school permanently and just gets called in when they can't find someone to fill.
Yep. Yeah, but that's in the case that it's a lot of last minute stuff, huh? You don't know until that morning if you're working.
Oh, I mean, I still go into work. I go into work every day.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes it's like, I'll just sit in the library the entire day.
Hey, you can pay me to sit in the library every day.
And and that job is also great as a college student, because like most of the time at that level at the high school, it's like, okay, they don't expect me to teach. It's just like, okay, here's your assignment. I expect you not to kill each other.
Wait.
Now I'm going to work on my stuff.
Okay, Tsunami's got. Is this part of the big bill that I didn't hear about? Tax cuts for people with tanning beds?
I actually heard something about that, but I thought it was a joke.
This
Yeah,
is the first time hearing of it.
I was thinking that was a setup for a punchline.
What I have, I'll say confirmed because I heard it from two different sources, that the no tax on tips and the no tax for Social Security, although are being touted as one of the wonderful things about this bill, don't exist.
You mean
That doesn't surprise me.
You mean Donald Trump's lying? He never lies.
Yeah, well, I know, but sometimes it's probably one of his underlings that's doing it.
If Trump is taking credit for something, it's either something somebody else did or something that he promised and never did.
Oh, well, he promised that as one of his campaign promises.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think he thinks people still believe him. It's like, no, everyone knows it's not in this bill at this point.
Yeah.
Even his supporters.
Yeah.
Now, I would just offer a little piece of a 45-year ago history. Ronald Reagan had to do his trickle-down theory, and part of that is to give the extremely wealthy major tax cuts, and he did that. It put such a hole in the budget that he had to replace that money lost, and to do that, he illegally raided the Social Security Trust Fund and put that money in it, and said, "Well, we'll pay it back."
Yeah.
Which has never happened, and is why today we are in trouble with Social Security solvency.
Yeah, that is
Ronald
the only reason
Reagan.
Social Security would fail, is because Congress borrowed from the fund and has desperately been trying ever since to find a way that they don't have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Okay, it
Quite
looks like
successfully, because it's been 45 years and they haven't had to. So
okay, it looks like on the whole tanning bed thing, there's an excise tax on tanning beds, and that's going to get repealed.
oh, that's not a significant number. I don't care about that.
Yeah, but it's still a stupid thing while they're cutting Medicare.
Yeah, I think something they else could have done instead, or as well as, would be to not tax women's sanitary products.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Well, actually, I believe that in the UK that they've actually made those available for free to anyone who uses them.
You kind of mumbled out there.
I believe they have made those products available for free to everyone who needs them.
Another
Who
good
has?
idea.
Oh, I know I kept some maxi pads in my
In
desk.
the UK. Or
Oh.
it may just be Scotland or something, but I think it was the whole UK.
This year I actually kept some on my desk for students who needed them, because although they could go to the nurse's office and get one, it's just that the nurse's office was on the other side of the building.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea. I'll have to add to my policy list.
And let's not forget that we have to continue the lie that the law in Minnesota is requiring schools to put tampons in the boys' rooms.
But
It's not true, and the bill
No.
doesn't say that anywhere.
Yeah,
but,
it's not.
you
It's
know.
not in the bill. If such a thing is happening, it was the school doing it themselves. I doubt that even that's happening.
hey, if I don't find myself back in the same room next year, someone's just going to think it's another odd thing that got collected there over the years.
You know, although in Minnesota, it wouldn't entirely surprise me if Tim Walz decided it was a good idea to have them there. Not that they would be required.
Oh, that was certainly a point of discussion during that whole upstart with that lie.
Yep.
And it's a valid concern, but I don't
Okay.
think the volume of trans boys warrants the expense of it, to be honest.
Yeah, one
Probably.
of the plans that nobody hears about, Tim Walz promised that every school-age child would get free lunches, and to extend that through the summer,
Mm-hmm.
they issued special SNAP benefit cards in the name of the students that give each of these students like $100 and some to buy them lunches through the whole summer.
Milwaukee used to do that as an independent city for school children. It wasn't citywide. It was in the more needy areas. But
well, this was for the whole state of Wisconsin. This was one of the bills that Tim Walz supported.
Well, with their Republican legislature, I don't see that going through. These guys, in fact, over the last few days, have been mumbling about how Wisconsin has to do exactly what Trump has done.
Yeah. I can see Wisconsin.
Oh! I'm sorry. I have got to put this out so I don't forget. Today, the Wisconsin Supreme Court, in its new liberal configuration, banned the 1849 anti-abortion bill.
Good.
Wisconsin is now an abortion available state. There is no law even hiding in the back room.
Yeah, I can see Wisconsin tipping back toward the blue next time they get to elect state legislatures.
Well, there was some decisions with redistricting that was made that could affect that as well.
Yeah, I heard about that they had to redraw some of the districts.
And of course, with the wonderful response Trump is getting for what he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Vance may have handed over control of the Senate and House to the Democrats.
Well,
I think so too.
But I'm cautious about that because
we're at a strange point in history that literally what the polls are showing is that the majority of people don't like either party. They just don't hate the Democrats quite as much.
Well, mostly what I'm seeing in the Democratic polls aren't that they hate the Democratic Party, it's that they hate the leadership for doing nothing.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That they think that the Democratic Party is just ineffective, that nothing gets accomplished.
I mean, they've tried the status quo for years. It's like, no, we don't.
Yep.
Run to the center.
And that is the problem. And, I think the whole thing with putting Clinton up for their presidential candidate proved
forcing her through.
Yeah, well, that the Democrats were more concerned with preserving the status quo than they were with winning the election.
The same thing with Biden.
Well, Biden actually won, though.
Yeah, but they still did the same thing with Biden.
Yeah.
And that, and the fact that he has brain leaking out of his ear, also made things worse.
Okay, well, with that, we are going to wrap it up here for today. So, thank you everybody for coming and spending some time with us. And of course, we need to thank our channel supporters, Kitty the Atheist, Robert X, Greg Hartwick, Sandy Shore, Skitzcrasher, and an impersonator of a very stable milking stool, Regios and Junie. Yeah, we have found out that someone is impersonating a very stable milking stool so that they could get on Patreon and send me money. But Stool is certain that this is not him because he had no money to send.
Huh.
Molly's growling in her sleep.
Who would ever use a pseudonym to give you a donation? These people,
know,
I swear.
Well, I mean, if
She's
you're
barking
going
in your
to
sleep.
imitate, if you're going to impersonate anyone on the internet, why would you pick Stool?
Because absurdity is sometimes helps you get away with things.
But
Yeah.
that reminds me, I'm going to have to start impersonating Tayton. And see if I can get more people to say his full name on stream.
Okay.
I mean,
Goodbye,
who?
everyone.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Titan.
I'm not going to say his full name.
Oh, Titan Uranus.
Yes.
Be gay, do crime.